Thank you. We are here at the City Club of Chicago at the Firehouse Restaurant. City Club, in conjunction with the U.S. Conference of Mayors and WVON Radio, is hosting all sorts of amazing people that are here for the Democratic National Convention. And we're so honored today to be joined by three attorneys general. I'm saying that right, correct? Attorneys general. We've got Attorney General Aaron Ford from the state of Nevada, Attorney General Tish James from the state of New York, and of course our very own great friend of City Club, Attorney General Kwame Raoul from the state of Illinois. Thank you to the three of you for being here. We're looking forward to this conversation, and we're going to have our very own City Club's board member, Rufus Williams, the morning show host for WVON, is going to lead this conversation. I'm Dan Gibbons from the City Club of Chicago, and I welcome all of you who are here in the room, the room is full of some incredibly powerful people right now with some great ideas, and we look forward to hearing from them. So,
including a former Attorney General.
There you go. We do have Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson. I always go back to the mayor title. The former Attorney General of the state of Indiana, Mayor Freeman Wilson. Thank you for joining us. She hopefully, and if we have a couple minutes at the end, we always like to include a question or two from the audience. So, Rufus, I'm going to mention that now, because if anyone has a burning question, give me a little wave, and I'll step out in a couple minutes, and we'll hope to include you in this conversation. I'm going to hand this over to Rufus Williams.
Thank you. I'm going to take it from you as well. It's good to have you all here. Such an honor to have this conversation on so many different levels. And I'm going to try as best as I can not to address all of my questions to Tish, because she sits in a very pivotal spot with what she's done. But Attorney General Ford, let's talk about Nevada and what are your priorities there as the Attorney General?
Well, first off, Rufus, thanks so much for having me. I am Aaron Ford, and I know people like to say Aaron, but it's Aaron Ford, the Attorney General for Nevada. Delighted to be here, especially with my good friends Tish James and my frat brother, that sweet, pretty Noop named Kwame Raoul.
I thought you were talking about me.
Well, you too, Noop. I mean, you got three pretty boys and a pretty girl. So, thank you so much again for having me. Our priorities in Nevada have always been and will remain the same as long as I'm Attorney General, and that's the pursuit of justice. When I came into the office on day 2 on the job, not day 1, I can't lie, I was a lot of crudité and, happy-go-lucky stuff. But on the second day, introduced myself to my colleagues, and I told them we had a simple job. Easy to say, hard to do, but the job is simple. And if you were to ask them, I even have one of my colleagues here, they would say our job is justice. And we define that pretty broadly, but specifically by focusing on what we call our 5 C's in the office: criminal justice and reform issues, consumer protection issues, the protection of constitutional rights for everybody, all of them, focusing on client services, both internal and external, and then doing community engagement to let folks know we're more than just people who put you in jail, right? We are soccer moms and dads too. We shop at the, what do y'all call it, Menards here? We don't have Menards out there, but we shop at Smith's like they do. But letting them know that this is what we do. We're there for them, and our focus is on justice. It remains our priority, and it's, as long as I'm Attorney General, that's what we'll be focusing on.
Kwame, I want to come to you with the same question. We know you certainly here in Illinois and Chicago, but a lot of the things that we just heard Aaron talk about what you focus on here in Illinois.
Well, it's the same priorities. People frequently ask me how much time I spend in Springfield. Well, when Aaron is a former state senator as well. He actually was the head of the Senate in Nevada. So when I was a state senator, I spent a whole lot of time there. I spend less time there now. I spend more time out of state with my colleagues here. We've really gotten to know each other. We know each other's families. We tight, right? And the reason why that's important functionally is because we do a lot of collective work, whether it's the work to hold those responsible for the opioid crisis, whether it's our work we're doing now focused on social media platforms and the harm to our children, whether it was our advocacy for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and in the alternative doing within our own states what Congress couldn't achieve because of the Senate, making sure we have patterns and practice investigative authority so we can bring about the constitutional policing that A.G. Ford was just talking about, and a broad range of other issues.
And Attorney General Tish James, I mean, you've been busy. Talk about, we know about some of the cases that you dealt with, and with the previous discussion we had with Mayor Evans of Rochester, your name came up there as well with a lot of the work that you do. Talk about your priorities, because they get into a lot of places and deal with a lot of things beyond what we might have otherwise understood, or dealing with people certainly in New York who have bigger names and frames than we may in some other places.
So first, I want to thank City Club, and Rufus, I want to thank you for hosting us here today. And it's always an honor and a privilege to be with my brothers. I'm missing, there's two others, Keith Ellison, three others, Keith Ellison from Minnesota, Anthony Brown from Maryland, and Andrea Campbell, my sister. And hopefully we'll have another one joining our caucus from the state of Washington. So everyone talks about the case that gets a lot of media attention. But that's not really my focus. My focus has been on like the NRA, which has nothing to do with the Second Amendment, has more to do with the not-for-profit and charitable laws in the state of New York. Individuals such as Wayne LaPierre treated it like a personal piggy bank, and we were able to hold them accountable. In addition to that, there's a number of corporate landlords that we are looking at in the state of New York who unfortunately have engaged in deceptive business practices and which have resulted in, unfortunately, the eviction of individuals and families of color all throughout the state of New York. I've been focusing on deed theft in communities such as Bedford-Stuyvesant, which has become gentrified. And as a result of that, there's the real estate value of brownstones in my beloved Brooklyn are now worth a lot of money. And so individuals are cash poor but equity rich, and there are bad actors out there who are preying upon these individuals. And I'm working with the legislature. We have now made it a crime, a felony. And the legislature has given me the authority to go after these bad actors because previously deed theft was not a crime and/or did not have any civil implications or civil authority. Focusing on the environment, thank you. Focusing on a wide range of issues, but primarily focusing on consumer fraud. And then lastly but not leastly, we find ourselves right now very much focused on the state of play as it relates to politics. And my position has been I will not allow anyone to trespass on our rights, our constitutional rights. And so I'm standing up for women, not only in New York, but all across this country, because reproductive rights is really key to our liberties. It's really key to a functioning democracy. It's really key to our ability to enter into the marketplace. And so it's really critically important that individuals understand the risk that the Republican candidate running for president poses to all of us, and he represents an existential threat to everything that I believe in. And that's why it has been my honor and my privilege to join with my colleagues here and others in challenging many policies that seeks to turn back the clock of progress.
Well, I'll speak for everybody and say it has been our honor and privilege to watch you do so and watch you be successful in doing that. Interested as these cases come to you, as these cases, the cases that you all decide to deal with, these priorities, how do you determine which ones you're going to pick up? What makes the difference?
Well, for me, it boils down to the question of what's happening. How is something affecting what I call the Nevada family, right? If we have an unscrupulous business coming in and I'm getting complaints about them defrauding them of insurance issues, for example, we're going to take a look at that, right? If I hear about in my limited criminal jurisdiction that we have some organization that is criminally predating on individuals in my community, then we're going to look into that as well. But the collective actions that we look at, they cross state lines. Opioids is the prime example, where you had a manufacturing companies that are distributing all across the nation and looking at an opportunity to bring together a multifaceted, multi-forced collaboration of not just Democratic AGs, to be clear, Republican attorneys general as well, to demonstrate that we are dedicated to consumer protection for all of our respective residents is a very important and powerful tool that we can utilize. We've done that in opioids. We're doing it in social media and the impacts and effects that it has on our youth in terms of mental health. We've done it in housing when we had the big housing foreclosure crisis. My Attorney General and the next President of the United States worked together in the housing context to bring in a great amount of money for both Nevada and California, and even working as well with other AGs, but among themselves solo as well. So I think it's important to note that as Attorney General, we're looking at how items are affecting our issues are affecting our constituencies, and if it requires our intervention, we will not hesitate to intervene.
It all depends upon the facts and the law. I suffer from an embarrassment of riches. I have 1,600 employees in the office of the Attorney General of the state of New York. 950 of them are lawyers. They run the gamut from civil rights all the way to environmental rights. And so depending upon the case and depending on the facts and depending upon the law, I bring all of that to bear. And so it's not based upon politics. It's not based upon any particular ideology. It's not based upon my politics and or my values. It's really based on the rule of law. And using the law basically to stand up for the rights of individuals who are locked out of the sunshine of opportunity, and individuals obviously who need a voice, is something that's very, very important to me. But most important to me is our body of work, and that is standing up for our Constitution and for our laws and for the rights of individuals who unfortunately find themselves in a situation where their rights are consistently and repeatedly trampled upon. And I am their sword, and I am there to shield them.
Yeah, for me and for my colleagues, some of it is based on what we choose to engage in, and some of it is what naturally falls in our lap because of our constitutional duties, and some of it is a mix. So you talk about protecting reproductive rights. Illinois is an oasis in the Midwest, with Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, and Iowa having near bans, and this has a disproportionate effect on African American women, not only women seeking abortion, but women who may be seeking miscarriage care. For example, we were all down at in Austin, Texas, at a health center. We heard the horrific stories of women not getting access to reproductive health care. And I'm not talking about seeking out an abortion, but you had providers that were afraid to perform normal miscarriage care because of the fear of being prosecuted within those states. So in our state, we've put laws on the book to preserve that right, and those who don't agree with it have sued, and it's my responsibility to defend the laws of the state. Likewise, gun violence. Gun violence has outpaced car accidents as the number one killer of children in our country. So I'm both proactive on advocating for policies and partnering with the ATF. We've prosecuted a number of gun trafficking cases because we know these guns are not manufactured in our communities. They're not legally sold in our communities, but they're sold to people who are ineligible to possess them, who we know will do harm with them. So I don't only want to hold accountable the shooter, but I want to hold accountable the straw purchaser and those who are trafficking guns into the hands that are of people who are doing harm with them.
Can I also say that reproductive rights also impacts Black maternal health?
Mm-hmm.
And what you are seeing is more and more women of color, not only in New York, but all across this country, obviously struggle with health outcomes. And we die at 3 times the rate as our white counterparts. And it's really critically important that all of us focus on Black maternal health. 2, let me also say, I can't believe you have 3 African-American attorney generals now who are defending states' rights.
Say that.
And that's because we have a dysfunctioning Congress. And Hakeem Jeffries is my Congress member. And I'm confident and hopeful that we will win 5 seats and he will be the Speaker of the House. But it's important that individuals understand that we cannot have a patchwork from state to state to state of various and disparate laws. We need a functioning Congress, and we need a Madam President who understands and recognizes the issues that each of us face.
Indeed, and thank you for bringing up that other Kappa man. Let's Aaron, talk about just as Tish went through and mentioned the names of the 7 black attorney generals now. We know there have been more. We talk about Madam Vice President, Karen Freeman Wilson, who's here. Talk about the connectivity. How do you all get together, and what's the connectivity that you have in bringing forth issues and really making sure that you all are great at doing what you do?
You know, your audience can't see, well, the live audience can, but your hearers can't see me smiling. But I am, because I love these cats. I mean, we love each other. We get together, we talk about real stuff. We share our lives together. We work a lot together, but we also share our families with one another. I mean, I know their children, they know mine. It's just a great working relationship that we have on a personal level, but on a professional level as well. We went from, in 2018, having 2 African-American AGs. One was a Democrat, one was a Republican. Carl Racine was the sole Democrat in D.C., and Curtis, last name escaped, Curtis Hill was the Republican in Indiana. Why y'all laughing? Curtis was the only point I was trying to make, though, is that we went from having 1 Democrat to having 6 in one election, or was it 5? But the fact is, it was 5, because we quintupled the representation on the Democratic side. And then you had another brother who won on the Republican side. So you ended up, the numbers continued to increase. Right now, we only have 7 Democratic black AGs, or no Republicans. But we have gotten together, and we have traveled together. We've looked at issues that are affecting our communities specifically. DEI, something, I'm going to say this because I got to give credit where it's due. Kwame mentioned 2 things that he was working on. One of which was the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, specifically the issue relating to pattern and practice investigations. It was this brother who said out loud to the cadre of not just black AGs, frankly, but to all AGs, that we need to be pushing to get not only federal government authorization to do it, but we need to have our own states to pass laws that do it. It was his idea. And I got it done in my state based on his idea, right? And so when DEI hit, it was the 6 of us who said, we need to come together. And I led the first letter. Kwame has led a second letter to push back on the nonsense that is coming out of the attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, the conversations are quite frequent. The communication is it's always on point, and it's just a great opportunity to work together. Tish and I were together this past weekend with Andrea Campbell, sitting on another panel, yes. 2 other panels. It's just a great vibe, and it's a great opportunity to know we have people who have similar experiences as we do, and in similar areas of focus all across the nation, who are working on things of import.
And I have to say, when we all were elected, they attacked Aaron Ford. His election was pretty nasty. It was racist. They attacked his family. They attacked him personally. They dragged him. So it's important that there be 6 of us so we can defend him. When Kwame Raoul mentioned DEI one time on a phone call, and they criticized him, we all jumped in. It's important that we have each other's back. It's important that we're there for one another. And it's important that we, again, represent the voices of people of color who have not been represented in the room of attorney generals for a very long time.
Kwame, weigh in as well on the connection.
Well, I'm going to talk about what Aaron talked about is we're family, and we know each other's family. We know each other's staff. We can laugh and joke with one another. There's an organization called the Attorney General Alliance that has an affiliate organization, Attorney General Africa. And I know you in coming days you're
headed to Ghana on the 11th of September. Come with me.
So we went collectively in 2020. And we didn't go to vacation, but we went to engage with attorneys general in, I think, from maybe 10 or several African countries, as well as law students on the continent. But we also bonded between us, having had that week, although it was like March of 2020 when COVID really took. We left the United States and came back to the United States that was different from 100% from what we left. We had flight attendants spraying Lysol on us. We got on the plane home because nobody knew at the time. But that type of opportunity to bond, to share ideas, not only with each other, but to others who are trying to establish a rule of law protocol in their countries. Our ability to share our collective knowledge with them has been an incredible tool to just make us feel good about our bond. We've got a bond. We can laugh and joke about things that other people might not understand.
Right.
But we work together.
Well, we love it. We see it here and also saw it when you all were in town together before at Taste 222, which is where we met. Then I know that we don't have them for a lot of time, so I'm going to come to the audience in just a minute. I do have to ask one more question specifically to you, Tish, because you've taken on the biggest bully and you've won. So tell us what that's like and tell us what the repercussions of that may be, particularly when we see threats coming in different ways from different places that may impact you and the work that you do and the way in which you live.
So today, the former president is visiting a town, I believe in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, where the Ku Klux Klan has a significant number of Michigan, in Michigan, where a significant number of individuals in that town are members. And so it brings out the worst of our humanity. It appeals to the lowest denominator. Mm-hmm. And so as a result of that, I get calls. I get death threats. Mm-hmm. During the litigation, I got death threats to my home, to me personally. It happens. I live in Brooklyn. And so they're not coming to Brooklyn.
Love it.
They're not coming to Bed-Stuy. The fellas on the corner said, "Tish, don't worry, you good." They were like, "You got all this detail and detectives around you. Tell them to go away. We got you." So they're not coming. But you got to take it serious. You have to take it very serious. But my faith teaches me that faith and fear do not share the same space. Mm-hmm. So I walk each day knowing that I'm covered, and I walk each day knowing that a higher power protects me, and I walk each day knowing that I got steel in my backbone because I come from great ancestors.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions from the audience that you have for our attorneys general, or should I just continue? Anyone?
And we've got about 10 minutes. About 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. About 7, sir. 7.
Kind of watching. If nothing from anyone, we'll just keep going. But I do want to make sure we have the opportunity.
Well, Rufus, let me just talk about the importance of this election and the importance for us. We feel proud as an AG family to have a former state AG as our nominee to be the next president of the United States, who I'll be proud to tell my daughter, who just started her second year of law school, I can honestly tell her, you can reach for the highest heights.
Yep.
And I'll be proud to call her Madam President. But part of the reason that I feel confident in her capacity is that she had a great experience serving in a capacity as an attorney general. And every important issue that we fight for and what we talk about, oftentimes, the legislature, which I was a part of, takes credit for the policy work, or the governor, and they do good work. But AGs have the power of enforcement, have the power of affirmative litigation, have the power of prosecution across the board on these issues. Policies put on the books are only as good as they are enforced. Mm-hmm. And we put a lot of policies on the book that don't go in force. So you got to have people in the position in the enforcement with the enforcement authority to do that. And the way that Kamala Harris presided over the office in California demonstrates her capacity to be a great world leader.
Thank you for that.
And she is the most experienced and qualified candidate for president, more qualified than the last 4 presidents. She was she sued a number of banks during the foreclosure debacle. But before we leave here today, I just want everyone to understand that about Project 2025 and its consequences. And it's important that everyone understand that in 2016, when the former president was in office, it was attorney generals who defended democracy. It wasn't Congress. It was us. And we sued Donald Trump. I know in New York, we sued him over 100 times. That was Project 2025, but it wasn't in writing. So Project 2025 is not new to us. We won, I say 70%. He says 80%.
Because it's 80%.
80% of our cases. And now he's trying to do it in writing. The difference now is they've got better lawyers. They know the Administrative Procedure Act like the back of their hands. They didn't know it then, but they know it now. The legal landscape has changed. We've got more conservative judges. And they've got Project 2025 as a playbook, as a manifesto. So we've done our work. Now, I don't know how successful we will be if he's elected. But the only way, and so I say to everyone out there and to your audience, it's now up to you to vote. We got to beat him at the ballot box because we can't beat him in court. We got to beat him at the ballot box, and that's why you've got to bring 10 to 20 people to the polls and focus on those battleground states because this time it's serious.
Thank you for that. Aaron, talk about, because you mentioned the conservative judges, talk about what that means to the work that you're doing and what it portends to the future to all of us, given the judges that are there and the work that you all try to do.
Well, you see judge shopping all the time. The 24 Democratic AGs, we align ourselves, generally speaking, along the same side of every issue. The remaining attorney general are Republican, and they will go sue in Amarillo, Texas, in federal court with Judge Kazmierek, I think that's his name, because he's going to say that the birth control pill should be taken off the market. I'm kind of summarizing, but that's what happens. They go judge shop because Trump has put in so many conservative judges that sometimes disregard the law, that they feel comfortable going to those kind of places. Now, to be sure, there are more liberal-leaning judges that we're more favorable of as well, and so we'll file a lawsuit that says, as we did do when they went to Kazmierek in Texas, we went to Oregon. No, it was Oregon. Or was it Washington? We went to East District of Washington and filed a lawsuit that said that now the mifepristone is actually safe and is going to remain available in the 18 states that sued to stop it from being removed from the market, right? So who's on the bench does make a difference. And I think at the end of the day, when you look at the legacy, one of the legacies of Joe Biden is that he has put on the bench not just more judges than many other presidents combined, but more diverse judges with diverse backgrounds, some of them who look like us, who will be able to draw on that experience as they are deliberating and exercising their responsibilities as a jurist. And so it's a very important issue. We need to keep that in mind.
We've got 2 minutes. Tish, I have to ask you this last question because you did speak. No, this is good. This is good. This is good. I need
Pick it
you.
on me.
I told you I would. I told you I would.
He did tell you. Pick one.
I need you to reflect on this moment. You talked about Trump, Project 2025, Agenda 47, but on this moment, and we would have voted for a bucket of paint versus him, given
Orange paint,
things. Not orange, any part of it but orange. But given this moment and given Black woman elevating to the presidency of the United States, reflect on that moment from.
One, she's a proud graduate of my Howard University School of Law. HU?
Nobody.
So I'm really proud of that fact. But as the first woman of color elected statewide in New York State, as the first woman of color elected citywide in New York City, that's a historical footnote. And that doesn't mean a lot of things to a lot of people. The question that I ask individuals who break through barriers is, what are you going to do with the power that you have been given? How can you make transformational change in the lives of others? difference can you make? I'm not here to, for people to pick on me and to be a historical footnote. I'm here because I've seen too much pain and struggle.
Right.
And I'm here because I represent the interest of those who have been locked out of the sunshine of opportunity. And all that I want is access. And all that I want is economic power, political power, and the power to be respected as part of God's family. That's all that I want. And so I just, I am so, and I want to return to normalcy.
Yeah.
A Republican Party which reflects the ideals of Abraham Lincoln, that respects the rule of law. That's all that I want. Our ancestors were Republicans. We know that. Just to return to that, a social order. I don't want power to be concentrated in the hands of one man. I don't want an attack on the agency state. And I want, and I don't want chaos and confusion and disorder. And I'm sick and tired of the personal attacks that stem from misogyny, racism, and want to just turn back the clock of progress, all the progress that we have made under the civil rights, in the civil rights era. And so that's why every day I wake up with this fire in my belly, determined to make a difference and determined more and more and more to defeat the orange man.
Right on.
Thank you for that. I ask you more because the brothers can always talk to the brothers. It's the others that we have to talk to. And we're glad to have you here for that.
They're my brothers.
There.
Great. Thank you, Rufus Williams, great City Club board member and WVON. A special thanks to Kwame Raoul, our Attorney General. We're so lucky to have you here in Chicago and Illinois doing all these great things that keep us safe, keep us moving forward. Thank you for pulling this together, Attorney General Tish James. Amazing to have you here at the City Club. Attorney General Aaron Ford. We look forward to having you back, and I hope that you'll consider what you're talking about here. These things that you're doing mean a whole lot to a whole lot of people, and your decisions that you make and the leadership that you are showing all of this next generation is changing the country. Thank you. It's been incredible to hear it here at City Club. We look forward to sharing the message widely with our WVON listeners, with our City Club audience, all these great civic leaders who are also here in the room. On behalf of our Jackie Robinson-Ivy, our board chair, Rufus Williams, and the City Club of Chicago, thank you for being here. It's been an honor to hear this conversation, and we look forward to having you all back.
Dad, can I leave in the words of Dr. Dre's Snoop Doggy Dogg and A.G. Ford? Nothing but an A.G. thing, baby. You are letting
I like that.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. We're here all day today, tomorrow, and the next day. So join us here at the Firehouse. Thanks.